circling on pranks kasi nga April Fool's Day ngayon. Circling Happy Friday mga katribu and welcome to another episode of Kalingang KaTribu Legal Diaries. I am Venice Bautista and today we are joined by Aranas Cruz, Araneta Parker, and Faustino Law Offices, Associate Lawyer Attorney Alfred Campañano. Good afternoon, Attorney. Attorney? Are you here with us? We're still establishing our connection, mga katribu. But for now, let me just tell you that our topic for today will be circling on pranks. Kasi nga April Fool's Day ngayon. So, it's gonna be informative because it's going to be educating us on where we draw the line between pranking someone and harming them. So, yes. Attorney, are you here with us now? Attorney. We'll establish our connection, but for now, we will take a short break.
Magandang araw mga katribu! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelevelo, Atty. Lia Badillo Crisostomo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Chert Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na mula alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Simulan natin ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments ng aming programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magkita-kita po tayo mula Lunes.
Hello, Legal Diaries is back, and I'd like to apologize for the technical difficulties that we have experienced. But we have established our connection with Attorney Campañano. Hello, Attorney.
Hello, good afternoon. My bad. Nag-press ko sa isang speaker ko, so nasa ibang room pala.
Feeling ko pinaprank mo lang kami, attorney.
Possibly. Let's go with that.
Yes. Okay, so ayun nga, I was telling our katribus kanina na timely tong topic natin kasi nga April Fool's Day. And we'd like to discern yung outlook natin sa pagpa-prank sa tao. And kailangan natin malaman kung are we harming na ba, 'di ba? So yes, so kaya we're lucky to have you to like parang educate us on having a clear definition or view on this matter. Okay, so first question, is it possible to sue someone for a bad joke or a prank?
Well, kasi first I suppose is I would assume that when you mean by a bad joke or a prank, you only, well, if you're annoying someone, then that basically is a cause for a criminal action. Kasi under Article 287 of the Revised Penal Code, or yung mga, it's a form of a light coercion, yung tinatawag nating unjust vexation. So that actually is a criminal offense. If you prank someone and you get annoyed, then that can actually, magugulat ka lang, pwede ka actually makasuhan dyan. Kasi under the law, or actually under our jurisdiction, unjust vexation is defined as any human conduct which, although not productive of some physical or material harm, would unjustly annoy or irritate an innocent person. So, a prank, whether it's a bad prank or a good prank, pero if the resulting effect is na-annoy or na-irritate ka, then it's actually a crime under the Revised Penal Code.
Kailangan pala mag-ingat tayo mga katribo. Kailangan ni tayo kapag bigyan ng sama ng loob sa mga tao. Kundi pwede pala tayong kasuhan yan. So, attorney, with this law, ano po bang exactly yung parang consequences sa ganitong, even though light coercion, light coercion, pero like, can they be parang, heavily punished, or can you like clear this up?
I suppose a prank or a joke, whether it's a bad one or a good one. As I said, unjust vexation is one example of a criminal offense. And the penalty there is 1 day to 1 month of imprisonment, or 5 pesos to 200 pesos, or both. However, just like any situation, you always have to look into the totality of the circumstances before you kasi di ba, bakit ka nga naman pupunta sa unjust vexation? Mas malaki pa ginastos mo sa abogado para lang para ka sa yan. However, you have to look into the circumstances. Kasi a bad prank or a joke, for example, especially in our community, can pwede maging can lead to a more serious offense. So for example, di ba, I think all of us are aware that the Safe Spaces Act has already been is already legal, has already been enacted. These are your crimes of gender-based streets and public spaces, sexual harassment. So yan yung mga unwanted or uninvited remarks, di ba? Yan yung sinasabi sa Safe Spaces Act. So even if yung mga joke mo, if it's in bad taste, and it runs along the lines of gender orientation, then you may be violating the Safe Spaces Act. Diba? Or in certain instances, if for example, ang tinatamaan ng prank mo is a woman or a child, baka pwedeng pumasok yan under 9262 or your VAUC for
Attorney? Attorney, you're a bit robotic right now. Hello, attorney? Hold on, we're just establishing our connection right now once again. But attorney was clarifying about how these light coercions can actually be criminal. Yes, attorney, hello? Are you back?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, hello. Yeah.
Ang internet problem dito sa office.
Okay, so yes, you were saying po.
So, yun nga, no? As I was saying, when you look into... Ayan. Sorry, may nagsabi lang na stop. So, as I was saying, the totality of the circumstances would determine whether a crime has indeed been committed. Kasi, kung, as I was saying, I don't know kung nakuha siya, no? Na, if for example, the joke is actually treated as an unwanted remark, or unwanted sexual remark, then you may be violating the Safe Spaces Act. Or if the
Attorney, we have lost our connection once again. We'll just try to fix and continue to establish our connection. So for now, we'll take another short break.
Ito ang debating kukumpleto sa inyong desisyon. Sa panahon ng pandemya, kawalan ng trabaho, giyera. Ngayon, higit kailanman, napakahalagang suriin ang susunod na mamumuno sa ating bansa. Sino ang may totoong solusyon? Sino ang may konkretong plano? Sino ang tapat na maglilingkod? Kasama ninyo ang Commission on Election sa pagpantay at pagkilatis sa mga susunod na leader ng ating bansa. Dito ninyo malalaman Pilipinas Debates 2022, The Turning Point. Simulcast live nationwide and worldwide. March 19, Sabado, the Presidential Debate. March 20, Linggo, the Vice President.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RGFM.
Gising na, Roy Pelevelo, Atty. Lia Badillo, Crisostomo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sanchez, Isolation, abangan ang programang Gising na mula alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Simulan natin ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments ng aming programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang opinion page at Tribune sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magkita-kita po tayo mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga. At magsama-sama po tayo sa...
Gising na!
Fun and inspiring na kwentuhan? Sagot na yan ang programang Spotlight.
Hello, Legal Diaries is back once again, and I think Attorney Alfred has fixed his internet connection. Hello, Attorney.
I am so sorry.
It's okay. I think the world is pranking us na talaga.
Whoever is that, annoying us. Justification ko na ba?
Pwede. Okay, Attorney, pagpatuloy natin.
Okay, sorry. So, okay, ulitin ko na lang, no?
Mm.
As I said, unjust vexation is like your catch-all provision sa revised penal code. So, when you pull a prank or a joke, if the effect is it unnecessarily annoys or unjustly annoys or irritates another person, then that's actually a crime in itself. But again, this is a very light crime, so to speak. So, again, we have to look into the totality of the circumstances when you look into pranks or jokes, kung nagli-lead ba siya into a crime. So, for example, as I've been saying is, yung may, alam naman natin na minsan our jokes run along yung parang on gender orientation. So, baka naman the recipient of that joke may treat it as an unwanted remark against, maybe treated as an unwanted remark under the Safe Spaces Act. So you might be committing a gender-based crime. Or under 9262, if the subject of your prank or your joke is directed against a woman or a child, then baka naman papasok siya under emotional or psychological abuse under 9262. Or yung the act na parang if it's been a repeating thing, na puro yan, baka naman repeating yung joke or prank mo against a specific person, baka naman pumapasok na yan under bullying. And if done online, then you're already violating 10175 or your cybercrime offenses. So, of course, we we look into the intent of the person, no? The intent of the person who made the joke or the prank. Because obviously, in this most, if not all, crimes, importante ang intent to commit the criminal act. However, syempre mag-iingat ka pa din dyan because hindi naman madali, hindi naman easily na tinatanggap na hindi, nagbibiro lang ako. Because even if that really is your intent, but if the actions speak otherwise, or yung tinatawag natin in criminal law as the overt acts says otherwise, or the overt acts betrays that intention of mere joke, of it being a mere joke, then it's possible, no, that you really are committing a crime here in the Philippines.
Okay, I'm curious about the recent happening in Oscars. I'm sure you're familiar with it, yung slap. So, seryoso, attorney. So, diba?
That's an innocent joke.
That's an innocent joke.
Pero yeah, yung kay yung let's just use Oscar.
Yeah. If that happened here, and then the husband slapped the comedian, so magiging liable ba yung husband kahit na talagang offensive yung joke?
Well, yun nga no, parang again, no matter how offensive that joke is, it doesn't, under Philippine law, it doesn't authorize you to physically harm another person.
Okay.
So, kahit na-provoke ka, no? And that may be, that is only a mitigating defense. Should you be prosecuted for it? Parang kasi na-provoke na parang ginalit ka and then kaya mo sinampal, for example. So parang baka pwede maging physical injury or kaya mo sinuntok, diba? So that's sufficient provocation on the part of the victim. But again, sufficient provocation under our laws is not a complete or it's not a total defense against the crime pag kinasuhan ka.
So, but what if a person is being pranked on and it's so offensive or harmful na talaga to the point na naging defensive ka na and then you accidentally hit them or harm them in return? Will you be liable if it's in the act of defending yourself?
Now, if it's in the act of defending yourself, then it's possible that it's a complete defense. As long as the force or the violence is reasonable. But it's possible, no, nakakasuhan ka dyan. Pwede kang makasuhan. But of course, idodouble ngayon, if you're going to raise that as a defense, na you're only protecting yourself, then that is a complete defense if mapapatunayan mo na the force that you use to repel that so-called harm is actually justified. Kasi I think there's a case there's a long case, I think, an old case rather, na kung saan I think na baril niya ata or napatay na yung roommate niya.
Okay.
Parang pumasok siya parang akala niya may robber na pumapasok sa apartment, but it was actually his roommate.
I see.
So in that sense, na-acquit naman yung tao nung napatay niya because there's a mistake there's a mistake. An innocent mistake. Akala niya kasi he was in harm's way and he was only defending himself.
Yes.
So an analogy can be drawn there. Na even if the harm is not really real, kasi nga, prank lang naman, di ba? But at that time, the information is, akala niya talaga he was in harm's way. Then, ang nangyari, nasaktan niya yung taong nasaktan niya yung prankster or the person who is joking. Then obviously, that the circumstances as far as the person, no, as far as the offender in this case is concerned, then justified yan. So it's a justifying circumstance that will exempt him from criminal liability.
Okay. So, moving forward naman sa different scenario, is disseminating false information considered as a prank? So, ito yung mga parang pagsisigaw ng bomba, sunog, or activating fire alarms sa mga establishments?
Let's see. Bomba, sunog. Okay. Iyon, that is penalized. No,
Mhm.
yung parang, kasi either baka pumasok siya sa alarms and scandals under the revised penal code or Presidential Decree 1727 na nagkakaroon ka ng tawag dito ng false or dissemination of false information na in connection to a possible killing or injury or destruction of a building or vehicle as stated in the law. So in that sense, that is a criminal offense.
Okay.
But there are certain misinformation na tingin ko lang is tingin ko cannot qualify as a crime. Because, for example, yung mga prank calls na tinatawag na yan, if the information na sinasabi mo in the prank is parang you're just simply wasting time. O kunwari, tumawag ka ng 911, for example, ng DILG, umu-order ka ng pizza. Di ba? That in itself is a prank call, but that's not going to qualify as an offense.
I see. Okay. So, what about if a YouTuber or social media influencers, yung mga ganon, nauso yan a few years back when they would prank a bunch of strangers in the streets or kahit in a public area, and then they would upload the video, a compilation of all the strangers that they pranked on, and then yun na upload nila. So, pwede ba silang kasuhan ng mga strangers na yun na prank nila when they upload?
To be clear lang, no, in that question, it's not really the act of pranking, which is the source kung bakit ka pwedeng kasuhan nung mga taong, yung mga strangers, for example, that you pranked or that is in your video. Ang point dun is, kinakailangan there is the consent of these strangers na i-upload mo yung video. Kaya if you're going to notice na in certain, for example, sa Comedy Central, I'm actually a fan of that, yung may mga times na kung saan makikita mo doon na naka-blur yung face. Yung mga iba, okay lang. Di ba? Para nakikita mo talaga clearly. Pero yung iba, naka-blur na yung face nila na talagang hindi mo makikita in the video. So it means they did not give their consent. So as long as that is complied with, wala naman ako nakikitang violation.
I see.
But again, as I was saying, it's not the prank per se which may give rise in this scenario for a legal action against the influencer, but rather it's the act of uploading the video without their consent.
Okay, thanks for clarifying, attorney. So now for the next situation, there were a lot of cases then before, especially nung pandemic, na nagpa-prank yung mga tao sa delivery riders. Diba?
Yung mga beach vlogs na yan.
Yeah, yung mga no-shows or last-minute cancellations. What exactly are the punishments for this one?
The sad thing here is, as far as I know, there really is no law.
Oh no.
There's no law that specifically addressing yung mga hoax ordering or yung pala umu-order talaga para lang supposedly for a prank.
Yeah.
Most of the safety nets na exist to protect our drivers or yung mga nagde-deliver sa Grab or sa Food Panda are mostly internal. Kaya for example, you are able to rate yung nag-order and then may monitoring ang Grab, for example, in the Philippines. May monitoring system sila on how many times nagka-cancel yung account. That could lead to possible suspension. But in terms of a law, specifically addressing yung issue natin with our mga Grab, Food Panda, and the like na mga service providers, wala talaga siya. So in fact, I think this is one of the bills being forwarded by one of the senators, which is yung trying to define and penalize hoax ordering. Or this is also a subject of yung proposed bill in the lower house, yung Internet Transaction Act. But, but, kung as it is, walang law specifically penalizing hoax ordering, but if mahuli mo yung tao na nag-no-show or nagka-cancel, it's possible, there's a possible case for estafa under the revised penal code because there's a false pretense of ordering, no? Ordering some meal, and then because of it, nag-cause siya because of that false pretense. In this case, yung ordering mo yung pagkain, I would say na yung delivery person or the driver departed or used his money for such representation. Then baka pwede siya mag-fall under under estafa. Kasi di ba normally when you order food, sila naman talaga nag-a-advance nan eh.
Yes.
So that's the a possible recourse, no? Pero yung directly on hoax ordering, wala pa talaga.
Okay, so let's hope for the best na lang sa pagsusulong nung proposed bill that you were saying kanina, no, attorney? So to sum it all up, attorney, how would you best explain the line that defines a prank and a crime?
Well, hindi siya mahirap siya i-summarize, no? Kasi there really are a lot of variables at play when you talk about a prank. But I think one of the key standard na pwede mong gamitin here is what is the overall effect of that act. Kasi yun naman din talaga ang titignan natin eh. If it really creates material or substantial harm or losses against the victim or the subject of the prank, then I would say dyan ka na you're treading on dangerous waters
Yeah.
as a prankster or as a prankster. So it really is the effect.
Okay. So talagang let's just not cause any harm to our neighbors.
Better yet.
Yes. So thank you so much, attorney, for sa paglilinaw ng mga situations na to. No? It's important for us to be educated sa topic na to. So because it's only right that we are aware that we are not stepping on anybody, we're not hurting anybody. Kasi we can always have fun without hurting people, diba? So moving forward, we have a trivia that we would like to discuss with you. So Tribune, in 2019, the government's 911 emergency hotline received a total of 2.54 million fraudulent hoax or prank calls, according to the DILG. Of the 18.4 million calls in 2019, only 37,440 were legitimate calls, while 16,763 were non-emergency. Grabe, ang dami.
Pwede ko lang pagalitan yung mga yan, di ba?
They're really getting into... Can this be like parang in the level ng obstruction of justice or something like that?
Well, I can't say for sure, no? But I suppose as far as being a criminal act, it would depend again kung you're simply disrupting you're disrupting the operations. So it's not helping, but I think wala pa masyadong law that will punish this directly. Kasi ang nabasa ko so far in connection dyan, di ba, kasi medyo it's fairly recent na 911 na ang ating emergency number. Di ba? So I think one of the commentaries dyan or mga statements from DILG Secretary Anyo, for example, or even si Bato, no, na nasabi nila na this is actually a criminal act based on 1727, PD 1727. But again, kaya ako may reservation on that position is because under PD 1727, the reporting of false information is clearly qualified, no? Or parang talagang hindi lang siya any false information, but it's about false information regarding yung a possible destruction of property, building, vehicle, pwedeng a possible threat to a person's life, injury, etc. So again, depending on the call,
Mm.
it may fall under 1727 or it may not even be a criminal act at all.
Oh, okay. So there's a lot of gray area that we need to address.
Exactly.
Yes. So thank you so much once again, Attorney Alfred, for joining us today. We learned so much na naman from you. Kotang-kota na kami. but we hope that you would still continue to educate us, to tell us more about our existing laws. And thank you also to mga katribu who are tuning in today. And you can always watch Kalingang KaTribu Legal Diaries on Daily Tribune's Facebook page every Fridays at 3:30 p.m. and also on Tribune Now on YouTube. Muli ako si Venice Bautista. Magandang hapon and happy weekend!
Thank you.